We've left. Come as you are. Froggy's left my house. Like,
life is good.
Brandy left the state.
Yep.
She finally left. Come as you are. Her out was leaving the state. Where does the dust settle?
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's where we are, right?
This episode is like kind of full circle. So like if you've stuck with us since the beginning, like we're kind of coming full circle back to where we started. You and I sitting in a hotel room at a conference going, holy shit, we were in a cult.
Faith can feel like hearts and butterflies until someone lights a match and burns it all to the ground. Welcome to the Burning Butterflies podcast.
The sad thing is that there's abuse of every kind within the church. But the spiritual abuse is the stuff that just
It's a place there shouldn't be abuse. Like, there just shouldn't be abuse in a place that claims to.
Well, it ruins your soul. If you're new here, we suggest listening to our prologue episode first. This is the story of two women's journey through toxic church culture and spiritual abuse, all while finding healing in the end.
Sometimes it's just the facts, and if you get offended by it, that's a you issue. And if we can't be mature enough to have these conversations, even if some of the topics are difficult, then shame on us.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so let's put like a time frame on this, like to bring everybody.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's happened. We left. We had a podcast.
Mhm.
It started out as a Bible study. We pulled the audio. We took it out from the umbrella of the church. We kept recording, and we've said it before, but for some context today, like, we started recording about issues that were prevalent to what we were going through in our personal and private life. We started meeting, like, it's interesting to see the whole shift, right? So we went from a couple of gals at a church who wanted to talk about the Bible to now we've met people. And this is kind of the start of that. We went to this conference. We met way more people. I mean, trying to think. I think this was our first introduction to there are other people who are podcasting in the world. Would you say that's accurate when we went to this first conference?
I mean, like, I knew other people podcasted, but I didn't know like the extent, because like right behind true crime at that time, I mean, we're talking about, early 2022 when we went to this conference. True crime podcasting was, king of the hill, but then right behind that was Christian podcasting. It was the second biggest topic of podcasting. And I didn't realize that until we went to, this conference. But, that journey to even go to that conference was so, I don't think you and I would have gone when we were at Come As You Are.
Right, probably not. And I feel like, so we were like dipping our toes, per se, maybe our whole foot, we're maybe up to our ankle in the online space of podcasting. Like, you had joined groups, like we knew people were out there and things were going on, and we were obviously making connections. Like, it was just I just know how surreal, right, this first conference that we went to was, because we're just meeting up, we're deconstructing, we're recording things, and we're finding new topics to record about because it's following how our life is going. And then out of the blue, somebody nominates us for a podcasting award.
Yeah,
like,
it was so.
Like, if you think about, like, really go back and think about, like, the things we were excited about. We have 200 listeners, or whatever, right? let's talk about, like, let's walk up to
Yeah,
that whole process.
like that first season where we were on our own, out from under the umbrella of the church.
Right. We took some photos.
We were
put our stuff
so
up there.
excited because we finally hit 1,000 downloads
Yeah.
just for that season.
Yeah. Like we felt like we had exploded, like, and we were like cream of the crop. Like, we're like,
Yeah, no,
the top of the barrel,
we were
right?
like so excited over it. And, you know, we would hit 100 downloads on an episode and we would be like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Like,
yeah.
And
I mean, like, and it was, and this is like, you have to value this time of like, like, just even the sheer thought today to think that what we were doing, sitting down and recording, that somebody other than us, like even one listener, right?
mm-hmm.
And then to just watch it keep growing and growing and growing, and then to see it being downloaded in other countries,
Mm-hmm.
right? And just to watch all of these mile markers happen, and then to have somebody nominate us and be like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that was wild just in and of itself. But like you said, like, we were very much like topic driven, and at that time we were still really heavy Bible driven. Like, I would say we were still, to use your analogy that you've kind of used, like in your marriage, like you were in the pit, like we were still camped next to the pit of Come As You Are.
Yeah.
And we knew it wasn't for us. And behind the scenes, you and I were talking shit about Come As You Are to each other, but we're not saying anything on our podcast disparaging about the church, nothing. It's just, you know, at a church we used to attend together, and we would skirt around topics. We would never really like just say it.
Yeah. And I don't, like, not gonna say like we weren't, like you say, talking shit. Like, we were processing and venting to each other, and like, saying all the raw things, and the like, there was no cleaned up and polished edited version of what, and we hadn't really processed, like, we were in the depths of processing what had happened to us throughout all of this.
Yeah. And through that time, I mean, this is, if you go back and you listen to that podcast, you get a front row seat to the beginning of our deconstruction.
Yeah. And we were posing questions, and there was a lot of, I mean, we're the same people, but you often hear them like, I'm gonna have to go down that rabbit trail. Like, this was like, we were like, I'm going down this rabbit trail. And so we were bringing up these topics and things that we were confronted with. And definitely it's a transition into
things that at Come As You Are, we were never allowed to question. And finally, you and I felt safe enough with each other to pose those questions to each other of like, I've always wondered this, like, you know, if you look at a history book, like, this is just a select group of people that we chose to write down their stories. There's millions and millions of other people in the world who lived, you know, during like World War II or whatever, but we just focus on this like handful of people as the people worth learning about. Do you think the Bible is like that? Like, God created men, like, could he have created other people? Like, you know, where
like some of this stuff
it like, said it was just Adam and Eve and their sons, and then then Cain and Abel, Cain and Abel were happened, and he's worried that other people are going to come kill him when they find out what he did to his brother. Where'd those people come from? Like, and it's these things that we had always questioned, silently, and Come As You Are was not a place where we were safe to ask those questions.
Right.
And so now all of a sudden we had that in each other. So we start asking these questions, and like literally you just watch our eyes open through these podcasts. And like you said, we met other people, and we met people who were also asking questions, but in a Christian format. And I know I know if you're just now finding us, and you've only kind of caught these last, this last chapter of our story, like we've deconstructed even more, I feel, through the process of this podcast.
Yeah.
But at that time, like I'm so thankful for the people that we met in that Christian podcasting space because of the confidence I think that it built in us. And like you said, someone nominated us. Yeah. And this conference we went to, you had to pay per nomination. So right. What these shows were doing were they were paying to nominate themselves. And I get this notification that you've been nominated, and it was, we were nominated in 2 categories.
Yeah.
Best female podcast
co-host. Yeah. Best female podcast with more than one person.
Co-hosts.
Right? Co-hosted podcast.
And then was it like our cover art or something like that? Was yeah. Our artwork, best artwork.
Yeah. And so like we had never heard of this company. We had never heard, like, you belong to a few groups through Facebook and stuff like that. But like to all of a sudden this was like, we went from like, I don't know, like you just think about our podcasting world and how it expanded. Like it was like, what? Okay. And we just went, we're going.
Yeah. Like we saved, we went to Nashville. Like we went to,
we're like, what? We got nominated for an award. They want us to go to Nashville. We'll go.
Yeah. And we were so excited. Like we were so excited, and we get there and we stuck out like sore thumbs.
No, hold on. So like let's like go through this whole like process, right? So so we have no idea what this is. It's a media company, and we've been nominated for some awards, and we're going to a conference
that the media company is putting on. Yes,
that the media company's putting on. Like that's all we know.
And they're having a conference. Specialize in Christian podcasting,
and it's like a 2-day thing, and we're gonna go. So we get to Nashville, and there's like a ton of people. There's all of this, like, we met people, even funnier, like from Colorado. We're on our airplane going to this conference, right? And so we are like, oh my gosh, this is huge. Like, this is huge, because there's like other people, and we're at the airport waiting for the shuttle to the hotel that we're staying at where the conference is at. And there's other people there. Like we are like buzzing. Like it is like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. We might've been going to the Grammys, right? That is how it felt to us. Come to find out, there's a huge broadcasting, like all forms of broadcasting, Christian, all religion. It's not even Christian. It's a religion broadcasting huge conference that's like a week long.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there, and it's like, holy cow. But then we're going. So this lady is a part of that big conference, and she put on a little conference before, 2 days before, because the big conference offers them rooms that aren't being used until the first day of the mega conference, if that makes sense.
So,
like this,
so essentially,
the entire Gaylord Hotel conference.
Yeah, so it was like
conference is.
The Christian broadcasting something or other. So it was big.
Yeah, it's National Religious Broadcasting, NRB.
So it was like radio, TV, podcast, like all broadcasting. I mean, they had like Christian stuff there. They had Judaism stuff there. They had, all of it.
All of it. Catholic stuff, like every broadcasting network. I mean, like huge, like TBN, they're a part of it, right? This is like a high elite, cost thousands of dollars to join, and this is their annual conference.
And so this woman who had this, we didn't go to the big conference, no, because that was even more expensive to go to, and we be broke. So
And we didn't even know about
We
it.
got these tickets just for this conference, but we even splurged and got the VIP tickets.
Yeah. Yep.
So essentially, this woman is a part of that NRB, and she had a booth there. And so
Oh, yeah.
she got the opportunity to like rent out like a smaller ballroom, conference room type thing that wasn't being used until they needed it for like panel speakers later on in the big conference.
Mm-hmm.
She could rent that out at a discounted rate or whatever. And so that's how
Right.
she was able to have her conference kind of piggybacked off of this big giant thing, right? But
Yeah.
we get there and you and I quickly realize everyone knows each other, but no one knows who we are. Like, we got there early, we ate food, and there's like this table and there's 2 seats. So we're like, hey, can we sit here? And they like, the women we met there were amazing. Like, amazing women.
Amazing.
But they were like, yeah, come sit here. And then like it very, very quickly we realize, oh, you all know each other.
Right. Because they're asking us, how long have you been a part of Spark Media? And we're like, we're
Yeah.
not. And they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, we got nominated for an award. They're like,
Someone
"You
else?
did?"
Like, someone nominated you?
Yeah. And so we're like, this
Yeah.
is weird. Like, really weird. And everybody we met, so this woman, like, okay, like, this is a smart plan, right? So there's this huge conference. She's able to book this room that's going to be used during the conference, but the big conference, smart of them to be like, hey, if you want to have your meetings for your special group ahead of time, rent this room. She is able to book big speakers like James Dobson's son from Focus on the Family and somebody else, like other
It
people.
was
who are
someone
gonna be at
ridiculous,
this
like
big
someone off of
broadcast
Fox. Candace Owens?
Right. Like, I mean, it was
I don't remember
I don't
who it was.
remember,
It was someone off
honestly.
of like
Don't remember.
Fox News she got.
Yeah. So like there's this huge thing and she's got these great speakers and so we're there, but her company is designed as join my
Yes.
company. And when you join my company, I give you access to all of this support for your podcast. So like it would be like you and I and our company Asha Media offering people the opportunity to pay a membership fee, join us, and we would mentor them through podcasting. That's what this woman's doing, smart business model. And so all of these people who have come to her conference are members of her
Yes.
community.
It's a pay to play community. And we did not
Yeah,
pay,
and
but we
then-
came to play.
Yeah, and then she does an awards thing where their members nominate themselves and you pay like $25 and nominate yourself. You throw your hat in the ring and somebody else nominated.
And we still to this day have no clue. We have no clue who
No, and so
nominated us.
we have-
Someone spent $50 of their own hard-earned money to
Right.
nominate us for these 2 categories, which I mean, now looking back, we're like, you and I never were going to win because they're not
No.
going to have the 2 outsiders who
Outsiders.
didn't pay to be a part of their club win an award.
It's the strangest thing
It
how
was
we
so
ended up
wild.
there.
But
And everybody was really weirded out the fact that we were there at first, but then we met.
yeah,
some
like
people.
I
It
mean,
was
like there
good.
were definitely some people that were like, you don't belong here. Like, why are you here? Like, very like
Yeah.
you can't sit at our
And I
lunch table
also-
type vibes. But we also met some of the most phenomenal people while we were there.
Yeah. And I also feel like there was like no plan to be like, if you want to join Spark Media, right? And I feel like it was added on because we were there.
Yeah. No, it felt very awkward. Like everything was so scripted and rehearsed, and then like they had like these like awkward little add-on things like, and if you would like to join Spark Media, and yeah, like even the slides looked kind of like thrown together. It was like, oh, it's because the 2 people, these 2 ladies from the middle of nowhere show up. But I am so thankful for that conference and for the people we met through that, because for one, I feel like it gave us so much more confidence in, okay, we're not the only ones doing this, and there's people we can learn from, and all of that. But then also, like, a lot of what this woman through Spark Media was doing, you and I looked at each other and we're like, well, we don't have to pay someone to do that because we can do that ourselves. Like,
like it was really like that watching this woman do it, we were like, wait a minute, like that's what
we can do that.
Like, we don't need to be a part of it. We could actually do it. Like that's what we're doing. Like we're doing that. And so I feel like it opened our eyes to, like, sometimes you don't know what you can do until you see somebody else doing it. And then also, like, it opened our eyes to the massive size of the world of, like, Christian media and the ability in podcasting, and, like, where we could go and what we could do.
And it was
absolutely
just previously, before we had gone to the Spark Media conference, I had stumbled across in a Facebook group, the Christian Podcasting Association. So it was, at that time it was free to join, and you just kind of, it was kind of like, well, you could just be a part of the Christian Podcasting Association. And then through that, like, then we found the podcast magazine. So the president of the Christian Podcasting Association was, like, he wrote the religious column for the podcasting magazine. And so we kind of knew about that a little bit before going to this conference. So, we come back and we're like, we learned a lot, but it was more like we went and it was like, well, we could do that. We can do this.
Yeah, so it definitely propelled us into the direction that we ended up going, which is exactly what we need to do. I mean, like, we needed to go to that. I'm so glad we did. Got to go to the Grand Old Opry because we ditched out on the last event. We were like, I'm like, do you want to go to this thing? No. Let's see if there's tickets to the Grand Old Opry.
Yeah, no one likes us there anyway. Let's go to the Grand Old Opry.
I saw my type A friend be so spontaneous. I was like, you're amazing. Let's just go. I'm buying them right now. Let's go. Yeah. That was fun.
It was so fun. It was a great, and, like, the Gaylord out there is beautiful. Like, I mean, the Colorado Gaylord is trash compared to the Nashville Gaylord. I will say that. But yeah, I mean, like, we had a great time. And so we come back, and over the course of, the next few months, that's when, things kind of start rolling. And by then we're going into our third season of that podcast. And, like we had talked about previously, the other woman had stepped aside because she still really felt like, Tom held authority over her and she needed to step away from the podcast, and Brandy had moved away. So she really didn't have a whole lot. I mean, like, we would talk to her about what we were talking about and stuff, but, like, it was really just kind of you and me. And, we did more every new season. We would do new pictures and update our headshots and stuff like that. And it was fun. Like, this was a lot of fun to do this. And I think we were there for each other to be able to question things in a way that we had never experienced before.
Right. And then now we had access to other people. And we started interviewing people. We were meeting authors. We were talking to other podcasters. Like, our world was expanding, and there were new viewpoints and new, like, and it just kept projecting itself. We were still going in this direction, like, there was constant movement and growth in everything that we were doing.
And then we through the Christian Podcast Association, we find out about this giant podcasting conference that happens every year called Podcast Movement. And it was happening in Denver. So it was like, we didn't have to fly anywhere. We didn't, we could drive. It's, an hour drive from our house. And it was, we were like, yeah, we're going. Duh, we're going. And That's when we found out that the head of the Christian Podcast Association, he lives down near there. So like he had a little barbecue at his house, prior to the conference and everything. And so we got to meet other people that, through this online forum that we had been a part of. We got to meet people in real life that we had only ever interacted with, online. And some of these people are the most supportive, even though, we are no longer a part of the Christian Podcast Network, just because of the direction that our podcast has taken us, and kind of that deconstruction piece of all of this. These people are so supportive and so encouraging, and
right. Well, and I think I feel like that's not, I don't know. I want to do that justice of why we're not a part of that anymore. And it's when you look at what is going on in mainstream, Christian media, you have people from different walks and different genres, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of things in Christian media, and there's not as many people doing what we do in Christian media. And so it's very niche. And then you take a smaller, if you look at the broad picture of Christian media, we're already on the smaller side, because obviously modern criticism is the enemy
of the evangelical movement.
Oh, what? So when you have now, I guess it's a lot to ask for. Can you be within the system and also be a critic of the system? And I think we got our answer, and the answer is no. You can't be a critic of the system and also be a part of the system.
Which I think we can go into that a little bit more over on our Patreon, of just kind of what that looked like for us. But I mean, I just want to be clear, us not being a part of that network anymore there was no animosity. There was no, no. I still get encouraging messages from people that are still listening to our podcast. We have people who support us on Patreon that know where we are and where we stand in our faith and things like that now. And I mean, yes, there were people a part of that, because you're going to have that anytime you put that Christian label on there, you're going to have what your stereotypical, what you think a Christian person is going to, have to say about, critiquing and criticism and things like that. But I have found that there is a solid handful of people that we have met through that network that are so encouraging and so supportive and just so open to hearing other people's perspectives from the viewpoint of, well, if people don't talk about what happened to them, how will the church ever know that it needs fixed?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to say too. It's not when you look at the benefits of being a part of a network or an association, the benefit for us is really just not there, in the sense of when you start scaling down into these smaller niches, it's not there. But yeah, and people they do define, what Christianity means to them. And then you have to be and I was very proud of and impressed with that network anyway. And we were there for a very long time. So nothing bad. We'll talk about that on Patreon.
But yeah, like you said,
it's just understanding, okay, at some point, you're so niche.
Yeah, we don't fit here anymore. And, we felt like we didn't fit there anymore for a little while, but we stayed in kind of that, well, maybe someone questioning would look, there, and find us. But then, it became apparent to us that that, like you said, we were so niche that it was that's really not where we belong.
People going there aren't looking for us, and that's okay. And I think I say all that because I want to be very clear. One, it doesn't have to be sad. It doesn't have to be bad. I think we think, especially coming out of these more traditional Christian based circles, that it's
Yes.
all or nothing. And it's
Mhm.
not like that. You can not be a part of something and it all just be
Yeah.
okay. Like it's
Yeah.
okay. So there's no hard feelings, there's no animosity, there's none of that. Like we still have support from so many of the people that we've met. And there are people that we know who are doing the same thing
Mhm.
we are within that space and maybe doing it a little slightly different. And we have to do what's best for us, and that's great. And I feel like you and I, when I look at the small group, because it's a very small group of people who are criticizing within the system, but the people who are still active criticizing within the system are people who are still trying to be a part of the system, where you and I are not trying to be a part of the system anymore. And so that's where they're differentiating. And once again, we can
Exactly.
all be friends,
Exactly.
and it's okay.
And no one's
So anyway.
eternity is at stake, and no one's faith status is at stake.
Right? Nobody's offended.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So it's been so good.
Go
But yeah, so
figure.
we went to this podcast
Yeah.
movement in August of 2023, and I mean, this is our first full circle moment. Like we went, and you can go back and you can
Yeah.
listen to some of our first episodes where we kind of talk about how this podcast came to be and everything. But this is where we were when we went
So
for come to the table
talking-
and
Yeah.
we ended up, we wanted to buy this woman's product. Like she created this product. Like, I mean, she is the owner of the company and we are at her booth wanting to buy her product. Like, please let us give you money and we will use your product. And she starts like kind of talking to us, and somehow it
Tell me about your podcast. What do you guys talk about?
and somehow it came up that like, well, you and I had gone to the same church together. So she asked a question like, oh, do you go to different churches now or whatever?
Yeah.
What happened?
Because she was from another country. And so you and I, like, even if we're trying to be focused on one thing, we do have a presence of this is the main topic and this is where we're at. And so however it came about that we were talking about church, she goes, I have a question for you. We obviously look like the right ladies to ask this question to. And she was like, I have a question about the church in America. And she asked that question, and that opened a can of worms to like, well, this was our experience. And we sat there. How long did we talk to that lady for?
Well over an hour.
Because she had experienced things.
We went to her booth to give her money. She was she was on a panel, like, and we went to her booth to buy her product, and we ended up standing there for an hour. She didn't even talk. Other people were coming to the booth to give her money, and she was having like her people like being like, hey, can you help them? I'm talking to these two ladies. Like, it was wild.
Yeah, and we talked for like an hour. But that experience with that woman, everywhere we went at that conference, every conversation that we engaged in started to become about our church hurt experience. And people had questions and people needed help. People were trying to understand and had experienced the same things that we experienced at Come As You Are. And we're trying to find resolution to that. And we talked to, I mean, this is a huge conference. Like, I met like WWE superstar people, like wrestling people. Because who knew that wrestling is the #1 genre of podcasting?
Yeah. I met Dan McClellan and I like totally fangirled at the restaurant. And I was like, that's Dan McClellan. Oh my gosh. I follow him on TikTok.
So we're this huge conference, but every person we talked to, we had multiple hour-long conversations with strangers about church hurt and the toxicity in the church in America. And that, I just remember it was exhilarating and exhausting all at the same time, because and I'm a person who gets my energy off of talking to people, so I can only imagine how you felt when you feel like if you were like, but we both got to this point when we were like, enough, like that was all we could handle. We sat down in front of this huge fireplace at the Gaylord in Denver, which is odd because the first conference we went to was at the Gaylord in Nashville. And now we're at the Gaylord in Denver. Same hotel chain, different states. And we just sat there and we were just like, holy cow, like what is going on? And I will never forget, because I wanted to do a second podcast for a very long time. And I kept saying to Amanda, we need to do another podcast. I want to do another podcast. We need to do another podcast. And she could get this look on her, like she would turn white and her eyes would look at me like deer in the headlight. And she was like, but like every facial expression in her body was telling me, you're flipping crazy. You want to do what? 2 podcasts, right? And then we're sitting there, and and it was just like, oh my gosh, like we don't need to do another podcast. Our podcast needs to transition into this topic. Like we've been trying to cover the small topics, but we've been keeping our personal selves out of it. And I'm like, we don't need to do another podcast, but this podcast needs to become about us. Like, and I just, that moment sitting in front of that big, huge fireplace, exhausted, exhilarated. And we were just like, oh my gosh. And then it just,
I think I looked at you and I was like, I think we need to do another podcast. Like have a separate.
You looked at me and you were like, we need to do another podcast.
And you're like, I've been trying to get you to do that for a year.
Yes, that's what it was. I was like, something came, and you're like, we need to do another podcast. And I was like, finally. Yeah. And so we kind of ended our day there, and we went back to the hotel. We got some dinner. We went out to dinner, whatever, but we didn't really talk much. I mean, a little conversation here and there, but we were exhausted, and we were both in our minds like, how are we going to do 2 podcasts? What is it going to be? Like trying to plan this out. And we had no idea because, just mental fatigue, decision fatigue. So we ate dinner. We're sitting in our hotel room. I'm on my bed. You're on your bed. The TV's on like HGTV because, that's my hotel thing. Got to watch. I think that's what was on. I don't know. Something was on. You and I are both on our phones. And we're kind of talking, but kind of not. And we're kind of like, well, we could do this. And then it's like, no. We can't make any decisions. We're not planning a podcast right now. We're tired. Right? And then all of a sudden I was, well, I don't even remember how we got on.
Well, we
something
said
on social media. Maybe
one of us made a comment, like, it feels like we were, like, the way people talk to us, like when we were having those conversations at the conference, it was like, the way people reacted to us was like, oh my gosh, were you in a cult? Like they didn't say it, but they like, that was like the vibe we got. And so then you started researching and you found, you can go back and listen, to our beginning episodes, but you found that
answer these 100 questions to see if you were in a cult.
And we did. And we were like, well, shit, we were in a cult.
If your score is over an 80 on this test, and yours was like, ours both were in the 90s.
Yeah. So it was so crazy, but that's what led us to here. And I am so thankful for that. And I think we're going to kind of go into that, in our final episode coming up. In a couple weeks of just, what we've learned through this podcast. But like, had we not, decided to move forward with Come to the Table when we were at Come As You Are, had Tom not got mad at us and asked us to quit, and we're like, no, we're going to keep doing it. And we did it on our own, you know, and had we not got nominated for, like, all of the domino pieces just fell into place for us to be able to do this. And so it's, while like some of it was like, well, that was weird, you know, I'm so thankful for each step of it along the way.
Yeah.
Burning Butterflies is a listener-supported podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing supporters on Patreon.
Follow the link in our show notes to learn how you can become a Patreon supporter too. Supporters get exclusive access to bonus content each month, including outtakes, cut content, and supporter-only episodes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating on your listening platform.
Burning Butterflies is a production of Asha Media. Thank you for listening.